Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out today. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So before we get into these topics, do me a favor. If you do end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. It helps the videos out a lot. If you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And while you're at it, consider hitting that join button and becoming a channel member to gain access to some exclusive perks. But we are diving in here to the first topic, which talks about Hogwarts Legacy and how it will apparently not only feature an exclusive quest, but other exclusive content to PlayStation as well. So this is being reported on by VGC. Hogwarts Legacy will feature an exclusive quest on PlayStation. It's been revealed in response to a fan question about the quest, which was only discovered when the game was listed for pre-order on the PlayStation Store. Avalanche Games community manager Chandler Wood replied, "The PlayStation exclusive quest comes with any PlayStation version of the game. It is not tied to pre-order." And over on the official Hogwarts Legacy Twitter account, they say here all PlayStation editions come with the exclusive quest, no pre-orders required to obtain it, but they also add more information around Sony exclusives is coming soon. So that last part there is something we want to pay attention to because it seems that there is going to be more that is exclusive with the PlayStation version of the game beyond a single quest. Now we've heard the rumor that there's an upcoming PlayStation showcase. We know that Sony has the marketing rights for Hogwarts Legacy, and it's played a pretty significant role in many of Sony's shows or events. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where we end up learning more about some other exclusive content. So if you do play on PlayStation and you're looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy, you will have a few extra bonuses that you can look forward to. But moving on to the next topic, we have details on the PlayStation tournaments on PS5. They've recently been detailed and a public beta is set to roll out in the coming weeks. Reading from PlayStation Universe, Sony Interactive Entertainment has dropped off the first details on PlayStation tournaments on PS5, which expands on the previous PS4 iteration of the service that launched back in 2016. According to the official PlayStation website, PS5 tournaments will remove common barriers in the tournament experience in order to bring players competitions that are overall smoother and more meaningful. To kick things off, Sony will host a public beta for the PlayStation tournaments on PS5 in select countries in the coming weeks. Sony further added that PS5 tournaments will include new features and improvements, which will ensure players have an easier time of locating and joining competitions. And so here are the features or the upgrades to tournaments that they're bringing: easily discoverable tournaments, seamless on-console sign-up, shorter tournament times, higher tournament frequency, a new UI, and real-time match results and automatic reporting. So I'm going to have this article linked down below so you can check it out for yourself if you want details on every specific feature here, because they do go more in depth, but you pretty much get the idea here. This is something that Sony obviously is putting, I would say, a decent amount of effort into, because we know that they're getting more heavily involved in esports. We know that they have multiple live service games coming out, and there's a very good chance, in fact, I'd say it's guaranteed at this point, that quite a few of these live service games will be very competitive and competition driven. And so, yeah, this is a pretty cool thing that they're doing. Let me know if this is something you plan to partake in. Moving right along here, we're talking more about The Last of Us Part 1. We have the new accessibility features revealed by Naughty Dog. And so it says here from PlayStation Lifestyle, Naughty Dog has revealed the long list of accessibility features they are implementing for The Last of Us Part 1 when it hits PS5 next week. The studio aims to make the game an accessible experience for blind players, for deaf players, for players with motor accessibility needs, and have even prototyped features to make the experience better. The Last of Us Part 1 game director Matthew Gallant explains how the team has tried to make the game as accessible as possible. One of the new features they've implemented is audio descriptions for cinematics, for which they partnered with Descriptive Video Works. One feature they even prototyped was dialogue being played through the DualSense controller as haptic feedback, so deaf players can feel the way a line is delivered and can feel the emphasis along with the subtitles to give some sense of how that line is delivered. It continues by saying the following is just a sample of how many features Naughty Dog is implementing in their game. And so I'm going to have the PlayStation blog linked down below because it's very lengthy and they go into extreme detail about every single one of these accessibility options. So as you can see, there are a ton of accessibility options here. And this is something that Naughty Dog is putting a lot of emphasis on, and rightly so. They're clearly going well above and beyond here. And the one thing I want to point out in particular that I find very cool is how they're utilizing the haptic feedback in the DualSense for anybody who's playing who maybe, you know, has difficulty hearing or is deaf, how they can get a better feel for how certain lines are delivered. That is actually very, very cool. And it would be cool to see, you know, more studios kind of do something like that, because I feel like, honestly, that's something that even if you're, you know, not deaf and you, you know, can hear fine, having something like that, it just kind of feels like it maybe adds a little bit to the overall experience. So yeah, I think it's a win-win situation here. Let me know your thoughts about that. But just to also briefly let you know, for The Last of Us Part 1, preload is available starting today, August 26th. And it's going to be 68 gigabytes. So the game launches on September 2nd. If you are purchasing the game digitally, you will be able to preload it today, and that's how much space it's going to take up. Moving right along, though, we have a small update for SIFU. This is coming from the official SIFU Twitter account, where they say the SIFU 2022 summer update will be available on August 31st. Try out our new scoring system to unlock all new gameplay modifiers, unbreakable weapons, God mode, or no-hit runs. Make your own rules and display your kung fu mastery in style. So I just wanted to let everybody know, if you are still playing SIFU, or if you're planning on playing it, or if maybe you're looking for a reason to go back to it, they are still updating this game. They are continuing to support it. For me personally, I'm patiently waiting for them to hopefully bring out like some new content, or, you know, the announcement of a sequel of some kind, something along those lines. But it's really cool that they are continuing to add more content to this game and giving players a reason to go back and play it. Let me know if that's something you're planning on doing. Next up, we have a pretty significant update on the Horizon Netflix show. This is reading from Push Square, and it says the Netflix series based on Horizon Zero Dawn will feature everyone's favorite heroine. After all, it has been confirmed. We also learned that the showrunner of the Umbrella Academy, Steve Blackman, has been tapped to head up the project, which will also include some production crew that have worked on The Boys and The Expanse previously. We knew that Horizon 2074 would be set across multiple timelines, but this is the first we've heard of Aloy's inclusion. The news comes from a recent interview Blackman gave regarding the conclusion of the Umbrella Academy, when the topic turned to his next project based on Horizon Zero Dawn. So he says, Horizon Zero Dawn is an exceptionally well-crafted game with wonderful characters not often seen in the rank and file of the gaming world. Their salvation comes in the form of a young female warrior named Aloy, who has no idea she's the key to saving the world. Suffice it to say, yes, Aloy will be the main character in our story. My writing partner on this, Michelle Lorvetta, and I are thrilled to be able to expand this remarkable IP into a series for all types of viewers. The article here concludes by saying the project is still in the very early days of its production, and we don't have any word of any casting or release date. We have said it before, and we will say it again: get Lance Reddick on board or we riot. And I thought that part was pretty funny because, yeah, I mean, you would assume that Silence will be part of this series since Aloy is going to be here and is confirmed to be the main character. It would be very bizarre, like next level bizarre, if they do not bring Lance Reddick on to reprise his role here. So it'll also be interesting to find out who they cast as Aloy, but this show does sound relatively promising. I mean, with all of these shows and movies that PlayStation Productions has in development, I'm always a little bit skeptical, but you know, I want to remain somewhat optimistic as well. And so it sounds like they are getting some pretty good talent on board. Hopefully it will be a great show, and I'll keep you guys updated. But we're moving on to the final topic here, which is a quote from Phil Spencer that I saw quite a few people talking about, and I thought it would be worth going over here. This is being reported on by VGC, and the title of the article reads, Xbox boss expects there to be less and less platform exclusives in the future. So they say Xbox boss Phil Spencer expects the number of platform exclusive games to decline over the coming years. In an interview with Bloomberg, Spencer said games being made available on multiple systems was better for the long-term health of the industry than products being tied to a single platform. Console exclusives are something we're just going to see less and less of, Microsoft's gaming chief predicted. Maybe you happen in your household to buy an Xbox and I buy a PlayStation, and our kids want to play together and they can't because we bought the wrong piece of plastic to plug into our television. We really love to be able to bring more players in, reducing friction, making people feel safe, secure when they're playing, allowing them to find their friends, play with their friends regardless of what device. I think in the long run that is good for the industry. And maybe in the short run, there are some people and some companies that don't love it, but I think as we get over the hump and see where the industry can continue to grow, it proves out to be true. Later in the article here, it says last year Microsoft acquired Bethesda parent ZeniMax Media in a $7.5 billion deal. After the takeover was completed, Spencer said delivering exclusive games for platforms that support Xbox Game Pass was the primary reason it had pursued the acquisition. Bethesda games Starfield and Redfall will be released exclusively for the Xbox Series consoles and PC in the first half of 2023, and the Elder Scrolls 6 won't be available for PlayStation consoles either when it's eventually released. And this is why I wanted to read this section of the article, because I can't help but find there to be some hypocrisy here coming from Phil Spencer. Now, granted, he does put Sony in a bit of a bind here, because when we talk about Bethesda games, the way that they phrased it was these games will exist anywhere Game Pass exists. And so this will prompt many gamers to turn to Sony and say, well, you heard the man, Sony. Let Game Pass onto PlayStation, and there are a multitude of reasons why Sony would never do that. Phil Spencer knows this, and, you know, they end up kind of getting this image of seeming like the good guys, like, oh, well, we're not trying to keep the games off your platform. That's Sony's fault. They won't let Game Pass on. But it's like, we can't ignore the fact that games like Redfall and Starfield were absolutely in development for PlayStation and were set to release on the PS5. And since Microsoft acquired them, that's no longer the case. And, you know, you can't help but look at massive games like the Elder Scrolls 6. That's not going to release on PlayStation. It's just weird to me. And I think what's even weirder is how there are just some people who kind of run with this and seemingly ignore those facts, right? Like they just say, see, Microsoft, they're the good guys here, and Phil Spencer's the good guy, and they're against exclusives, but they completely ignore the fact that, but Xbox still is partaking in the practice of exclusivity. So yeah, I just thought in general this was a strange quote from Phil Spencer. Like, I'm not necessarily against the idea of in the future Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo all being able to work together and bring down the barriers and everybody can play everything anywhere. I mean, you could argue that to some extent we are headed there, but you know, there are quite a few reasons why we are not there, and why it hasn't been that way, and why it's still not that way. And, you know, there is a reason why Microsoft is choosing to withhold these games from PlayStation, just like there is a reason why PlayStation is choosing to withhold games from Xbox. So I feel like it would be wise of us to not forget that and not get away from that. Anyway, that does it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Be sure to leave it a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.